Hello and welcome to Learning Assistant training with the Lightbulb. When you're set up on Learning Assistant and your portfolio has been created, they will send you a link. It will come directly from Learning Assistant so that you can click on and gain access to your portfolio for the first time. This email should have your username in it, but if you haven't received it, please try firstname.last name. So for instance, my name is Amy McTaggart, so my username will be amy.mctaggart. If you get to this page and you haven't received a password, or you haven't received a link, or you forget your password, at the bottom here you are able to reset your password. Now this will only work if we've got the correct email address added to your Learning Assistant portfolio. So if you click this, you type in your username, firstname.last name, and your email address, you should receive a link to reset your password. Again, any issues at all, please feel free to contact one of us at the Lightbulb and we'll support you with gaining access. So once you've typed in your username and your password, please click login. So first of all, the very first time that you sign in, you'll be taken to your home page and you need to read all of the contents, scroll to the bottom and click accept. This homepage includes some really useful information about Learning Assistant, our appeals procedure, some contact details if you need it, and right down at the bottom we've got some information about safeguarding, any concerns, hot topics, all that kind of thing. So it's really useful, this homepage, for some general information about the Lightbulb and some advice you might need. Over on the left-hand side, you'll notice you've got lots of options there. The only option we use is My Program. When you click on that, you'll be faced with the portfolios that you have that you'll be working towards. If you're a recruitment learner with us, you may have 3 portfolios. The top one is the technical certificate, the second one is the MVQ, and you may also have a third one for the standard, which is your EPA, but that can be added later if it's not there. If you're quite new to the qualification, these first 2 are the main ones that we're looking for. So first of all, at the top, your technical certificate. Now this portfolio has been set up with the 7 units that you need to prepare you for the technical certificate. And you can see over on the right hand side, you've got some information. So started percent is 0, completed 0, and expected is 39. So this will track where you should be in terms of progress throughout every single day, every month. You'll see that it changes around as you complete work. And also it will show here some different colours. So at the moment, these units are all showing as grey because they're not started. Once you've started them, they'll change to blue. And once you've completed them, they'll change to green. So to go into this portfolio and have a little look at it, you just click anywhere in the black area here and it will take you into that portfolio. So we're looking at technical certificate first. So on this page, we've got again the percentages: started, completed, expected. The official start and anticipated end dates are here as well, so you know when you're aiming for to complete. And then also you've got the qualification name here and here. So it tells you it's the certificate in recruitment resourcing, and we've got the course code there as well. In this course tab, it will give you all of the units that are included in this technical certificate. So you can see here, this is Unit 1. That's the name of Unit 1, and then it's broken down into some learning outcomes. Again, over on the right-hand side, you can see it's not been started. It's still showing as grey. And at the bottom, you've got a started and completed percent bar for each unit. So not only have we got it over at the top for overall the whole qualification, but also you've got it per unit as well. So if you want to have a look at the criteria, say for the first outcome, you can click on this red area here, the 1.1. If you click on that, it will take you into that element. And when you scroll down, you've got 3 criteria to be met here within this element. If we hover over the yellow, it tells us what the criteria is. So 1.1, describe recent history and growth of the recruitment market. 1.2, describe different sectors within the recruitment market. And 1.3, explain the difference between permanent and temporary recruitment. Now, if you want to go to the next element, you can click here to 1.2. And that will take you to the next element within Unit 1. So remember, there was 3 outcomes altogether. If we click there, it will take us to the next part, which is 1.2, and there's 2 criteria for this section. And then you can do the same to get to 1.3, or you can use the drop-down box to jump to 1.3. So the third element is understand how recruitment consultancies operate. If you want to go to a completely different unit altogether and have a look, you can jump to any of your units that are here. And you can also click back on the course tab, and that will take you back to where we started, and it will show you everything that's in your course folder, all 7 units for the technical certificate. So as you scroll down, we've got exactly the same, but each one has a different amount of elements and criteria, so everything's different. It just depends on what that unit requires. We just scroll all the way to the bottom and we'll have a little look at the last unit here, which is unit 7. Again, if I want to look at the criteria, I click on the red 7.2. That's going to take me into the second element, and it's going to show me there's 4 criteria here to meet. Okay, so next up, I'm just going to show you the evidence tab. Now, when you collect evidence, this will be completing workbooks, or maybe you've collected some evidence from work, maybe some screenshots, emails, things like that. You'll be uploading your evidence here. So to do this, you'll be clicking on the evidence tab and then clicking on Evidence Wizard. Within Evidence Wizard, it's always the top option, Upload Evidence, that you need to click. And then you browse for files. And from here, you can choose whichever file you would like to upload. So for instance, I'm going to go for meeting minute template, and I'm going to click open. When you click open, you'll see that it's now jumped down here. So this is telling us that we've actually got one file uploaded, and we can delete it from there if we've chosen the wrong one by mistake, and you can add another. So let's just try that. If I click the delete button, that disappears. Then I click the browse button and I want to choose something else to upload. Then you can see it's popped up there. I've decided I want to put more than one document and zip them together. So for instance, I've completed a workbook, but I've also got a flow chart as well. So within workbook 1, we complete the workbook, but also we create a flow chart. So you may have put that onto a separate document. So from here, you can upload both, the workbook itself and let's say the flow chart as well. So I'm going to choose any other document just to show you what I mean. And then here you can see there's now 2 uploaded files. So if you're doing it this way, you need to make sure that they're both relevant to each other. If they're not relevant to each other, you can upload them separately. So as I said, workbook 1, that requires you to create a flowchart. So you would put those 2 together because they're both part of workbook 1. Then up here, we've got a details tab. You want to make sure that the title is correct. So it could be workbook 1, Understanding Recruitment, and the title, just make sure it's relevant to the evidence that you're uploading. So for instance, workbook 1 has got a title. You can use the title of that, or you could even use the title of the unit. You can use this description box to write a little description about what you're uploading, but there really is no need. This is not mandatory. So next tab is type. In the type button, you want to make sure that you're choosing any and all evidence types that relate to this evidence. Please avoid using not applicable and choose the correct ones. So for instance, if you're taking screenshots or maybe you've got some supporting evidence, that's classed as work product, WP. If you've collected a witness testimony, you know, maybe your manager or your colleague has completed a statement for you, that's WT. But a workbook usually is written questioning. So if we scroll down, we can see WQ is written questioning. So you'll know that whenever you're uploading a workbook, it will be WQ. If you've also put some screenshots into that workbook to show your evidence and show when you've done it, you would tick work product as well. Up at the top, you've also got a cross-reference tab. So just click on that. And you can see here, the first unit is understanding the recruitment industry. So you click there to actually open that up. And if you remember from the course folder, there are 3 outcomes within unit 1. You can open each of these up. So that's 1, 2, and 3. And you can tick this in to whatever you feel like your evidence meets. So for instance, if you're uploading workbook 1 and you've completed all of the questions, you haven't left any boxes blank, then you can put ticks next to all of the criteria, because that workbook is designed for you to meet all of this criteria. You'll notice there's a couple of things here. We've got black ticks on the left and we've got red zeros on the right. So the red zero here means that there isn't any other evidence that's been uploaded to that unit yet. So you can see there at a glance whether or not you've uploaded anything there before. And that's just a good way to see how many pieces of evidence you've put into each criteria. Now, for this technical certificate portfolio, you should really only have one piece of evidence that goes through every single unit, and all the criteria needs to be met at least once. And then the black ticks on the left. So this is to show us assessors that you have ticked this into the criteria. So when I look at your portfolio, I can see straight away, okay, there's black ticks there. That means the learner or the apprentice has uploaded this work and ticked it into the units themselves. Then what the assessor will do is go in, check that you have met that criteria, and they'll click on that tick to change it to green. So we can see there at a glance which ones the assessor has approved and assessed and made sure that it has been met. You might also notice in some of your portfolios that you have some pink ticks, and that's when it's been internally quality assured or IQA'd. So those pink ticks means that the internal quality assurer has checked it and they agree that it has been met. Once you've ticked it into whatever you feel it meets, you go down to the bottom and click Save. Once you've clicked Save, you will get a little box that pops up and you've got some options there to choose from. Either Close, Submit for Review, or Continue Editing. So if you've made a mistake or you want to change something, add something, tweak it, you can tick Continue Editing and you can make those changes there. If you want to close it because you're finished, you can close it there. But if you want to submit it for review, you want the assessor to actually look at it and assess it, you will need to click the Submit for Review button. So now it tells us the evidence has successfully been submitted for review, so we can click Close. Once you click Close, you can see that our first piece of evidence has been uploaded here. So it tells us it's reference number 1, it's got the title that we chose to give it, it's got the outcomes that it's been ticked into, so it's 1, 2, and 3. It gives us the type, so we know it's written questioning and work products, and if you can't remember, you can hover over it to see what that stands for. It tells us it's been uploaded today, 13th of December 2021 at 18:14, and this is who it's been uploaded by. So this account that I'm in is a test recruitment account, but for your portfolios, it will have your name there, or possibly your assessor's name if your assessor's uploaded it for you. Then we've got a few little symbols here. So the first one is a star. This is used right at the end of the program, so you won't need to worry too much about this star. But at the end, what we'll be doing is choosing all your best evidence to send forward for IQA. The clipboard here shows us that it's been submitted for review and it's black, meaning that you haven't been given any feedback on it yet. Once the assessor clicks on it and gives you the feedback, this clipboard will change to green, and then you'll know to go and look at the feedback and see what it says. Then you've got a lock button, you've got a history button, and you've got an information button. So really the only one we use out of these is this little clock here, and it's the revision history. So once you upload a workbook, you are then able to make changes to that workbook if you want, and you can replace it with a new version. So what that means is if you submit this for review and the assessor checks it and they give you some feedback on it, they may replace this workbook with a new version that has the marking on it. What you can then do is click the 3 dots, edit, and then click replace to put your latest version with all the changes made. You can then replace it with a newer version. So I'm just going to give you an example of that. So I'm just going to choose a couple of documents that I want to put in and then click open. It will add those two. There you go. They're down the bottom here again. You can click the bins to delete it, or if you're happy with that, you can carry on. You can make any changes to any of the tabs here if you want to, and then click save. Again, you'll get the message pop up where you can either close or you can continue editing. Now you'll notice you haven't got the submit for review button here. So what you'll need to do is let your assessor know that you have made the changes and you've replaced it online. So you can either continue, but in this case, we're going to click close. And what you'll notice now is that this has been highlighted. The revision history icon is now in black with a little green 2 on the right-hand side. So that means there's 2 versions of this evidence. Now, if you click on this red title here, it will open the latest version of the evidence. If you click on the revision button here, it will give you both versions, so you're not going to lose anything. All your work is safe. It will give you the first version that was uploaded at 1814, and then what we've replaced it with, 1817. And by clicking on either of these red titles, you can open up the document. Okay, so don't worry about replacing any evidence. You're not going to lose anything. It won't delete anything. It will keep all the previous versions as well. So that's basically how to upload and how to replace evidence. So across the top here, the only other tab that we use is the contact tab. Now, once your assessor has clicked this black clipboard and added their feedback, the feedback will then go into this contact tab. And in here will be all of the evidence of the visits that you've had. There'll be a contact entry for every visit with an AVR form attached. So AVR stands for Assessment Visit Record, and that will go through everything that you've completed since the last visit, what you've completed during the current visit, and what targets and deadlines you're being set, and the plans for the next visit. So in here, you'll be able to come to here, see the entry. It will have AVR and the date of your visit, and there'll be a little red attachment to tell you that there is a document attached for you to open and read. So again, any feedback that's been given on a piece of evidence using the clipboard, it will be automatically generated in here, and it will show you what the feedback is. Any questions at all, you've got your assessor and verifier's names at the top. So for this example portfolio, they both say me. But you are able to also make contact through the messaging tab over on the left-hand side. Now, this messaging tab, we don't tend to use it a lot at the Lightbulb because we are so heavy on emails. So if you are struggling at all and you want to pop a message on here, that's absolutely fine. You can do that. But mainly, if you could use emails, that would probably be quicker. So just going back to the course folder again. So the course tab is where you can see an overview of the entire qualification. The evidence tab is where you upload your evidence by clicking on the evidence wizard. And the contact tab is where you can see all your feedback and your documents from each visit, which is called an AVR. Now, if you remember right at the beginning of the video, we had 2 options. So to get back, we can click My Program. And it will show you now that we have made a start because we've ticked in some evidence into the first unit. So we can see now that unit is showing up as blue, and over on the right-hand side, we've started 15%. The other portfolio you've got here is your MVQ portfolio. Now, within the MVQ for recruitment at level 2 for the resourcing qualification, there are mandatory units, and you'll see here there are 9 units that have been automatically added to your portfolio. Now, there are some optional units that need to be chosen for the MVQ. So you've got your mandatory 9, but there are some optional as well, and your assessor will have contacted you about choosing those optional units. So if your portfolio already has your optional units in there, then yours will be slightly bigger than this one, and you'll have a couple of extra added at the bottom that you need to meet and work towards. Now, with the MVQ, it is slightly different because you have be able to criteria and you have know how to criteria. So you'll see within Unit 1, you've got 2 elements that start with be able to, and be able to requires performance-based evidence. So if I just click on the red 1.1 here to go in, hover over the criteria, you'll see it says identify the criteria against which the candidates will be assessed. Now, this has to be evidenced with you actually doing it. So anything that starts with be able to, we have to prove that you've done it. So this can be through statements that you've written, screenshots you've taken, an observation, we could observe you at work, or maybe a witness could complete a testimony or a statement to say what they've seen you do. So all of this criteria, you have to show that you are doing it in your role, and we have to prove that. But also, unlike the other portfolio, you have to cover this sort of 2 to 3 times to show that you've done it over a period of time, and it's not just a one-off. So again, to jump to another unit, you can click on this drop-down box here, or you can use the arrows left and right, or you can click on the course tab there to go back to the entire portfolio. So what I want to take you to now is a know-how-to criteria. So you can see within this unit, you've got some be able to's and some know-how-to criteria. So if we click on this, you can see that it's asking you to describe something. So this is a knowledge-based criteria, which you can write a statement for, or you can complete a workbook on, and you upload it here, and we only need one set of ticks across all of the criteria for you to meet the standard for this element, and then it can be closed. Whereas within the next element, it is a be able to. So again, we need to prove that you actually have done this within your role through observation, or maybe a professional discussion that we've set up with you, so that you can give examples of times when you've done this. Okay, so clicking back on course, you can see here the first is be able to. So this is all performance-based evidence that you need here of times when you've actually done something. Unit 2, you've got a knowledge element to start with, so you can write a statement or you can complete a workbook covering that. But here you need actual evidence of times when you've done it. So when you're writing about times when you've done things, you won't use wording such as would, should, or could, because it sounds like it hasn't happened. So instead it will be, I did this, I did that, I completed this, I contacted a applicant, I made arrangements with clients. Instead of I know how to make an arrangement with a client, I would contact them by phone, or I could send them an email. So hopefully you can see the differences there between knowledge and performance criteria. Unit 3 is 2 elements, and they're both starting with be able to, so we'll need performance-based evidence for those. And Unit 4, you've got a couple of understands and a couple of be able to. So you've got a split there between knowledge criteria and performance-based criteria. Be able to's for all of Unit 5, a split for Unit 6. So you've got 1 element that's knowledge criteria and 3 that are be able to's. 7 is a full performance unit, so we need those examples of times when you've done it. A split for Unit 8, so we've got some knowledge for the first element, 2 be able to elements, and then a split on Unit 9. Don't forget, you're going to have some more down here once you've chosen your optional units. So back up to the top, everything is exactly the same in this portfolio as it was in your technical certificate portfolio. So you've got your evidence button. This is where you'll upload your evidence. And in here, I've popped in a training plan. So training plans are vital within your qualification. These must be kept up to date because these prove the funding that we are claiming for you. So you must make sure that you're spending 20% of your working time on learning. So if you're working 5 days a week, 1 day needs to be spent on learning. Now, this learning doesn't need to come from us. It can come from your workplace. So for instance, if you're listening into conversations, attending team meetings, if you're shadowing people, if you're attending training sessions, all of that can go onto your training plan, as well as the work that you're doing with us, the research, the learning that you're getting from your assessor, etc. Once your training plan is completed, you can just use that one document and keep replacing it. So once you've updated this, maybe you're doing it weekly or daily, you can go to your 3 dots, edit, and replace it with the new version by using this replace button. This keeps your portfolio nice and tidy, because what we don't want is we don't want 500 entries all showing your different training plans. It's much neater and tidier just to keep the one reference and just keep replacing that with the new versions. Don't forget, the revision history button keeps all your old versions, so you're not going to lose anything. And same as before, the contact tab. So this is where all of your feedback will go and evidence of the visits that you've had as well. Okay, guys, well, that's everything. That is Learning Assistant in a nutshell. If there's anything else that you need, please don't hesitate to get in touch with your assessor, learning and development mentor. We call them at the Light Bulb. And we've also got the office number that you can contact. That's 01268 270 648. So if you need anything else, my name is Amy McTaggart, and I am the delivery team manager and lead internal quality assurer at the Light Bulb. And you can contact me on 07764 969 333. Take care. Thanks very much for listening. Bye.